COAG.
By
and we're now listening to
modelling
Josh Frydenberg, the Energy Minister, speaking in Sydney.
The average Australian household will be $550 a year better off as a result of the National Energy Guarantee and existing policies, and businesses even more so. The National Energy Guarantee is in the national interest, and the Turnbull government is taking the lead. Matt?
Thanks, Josh. Thank you, everybody. Well, today was a very constructive discussion among jurisdictions. The National Energy Guarantee was the only proposal put forward that could lower prices for Australian consumers, and that's what we are focused on. I recognise that other jurisdictions have issues that they have raised today in the meeting and with you, the media, but no one else put an alternative proposal forward to lower power prices. The only proposal on the table to lower people's power bills is the National Energy Guarantee. We are focused on doing that because we don't think we should live in a country where pensioners have to put on an extra doona rather than put their heating on. We don't think we should live in a country where people's jobs are at risk, where we should have cheap and competitive power prices. So we are focused as a government on doing that. The National Energy Guarantee will underpin reliability. It will help support investment, and more supply will help lower prices as well. It's good news for the country that the National Energy Guarantee is moving forward to the next stage, and we can get on with the job of lowering power prices for the Australian people.
Minister, Victoria and Queensland claiming victory today as a defeat on your part?
Well, actually, we had the victory because the National Energy Guarantee goes through the gate to the next stage. It is one step closer. In the words of the independent head of the Energy Security Board, today was a great day and a big step forward for the National Energy Guarantee. Because what ministers have now agreed is that following the party room's consideration of the federal legislation and a teleconference on Tuesday evening, the exposure draft of the state legislation will be released for a period of consultation. We are hoping that following that consultation, ministers will agree to implement the design of the National Energy Guarantee. There was a lot of politicking and posturing before today, a lot of 11th hour demands. But when it came to today's discussion, the National Energy Guarantee went forward to the next stage. That's the sign of progress today.
Victoria still wants to a regime where the target, 26% or 45%, can be increased by regulation, not by legislation. Will you agree to that?
We've made it very clear that the target and the means of implementing the target and changing the target is a matter for the federal government. It's the federal government that is the signatory to the Paris Agreement. It's the federal parliament that will pass legislating implementing the emissions reduction target. When it comes to regulation versus legislation, this is hypocrisy on Victoria's part. When they implemented their own state-based renewable energy target, they decided to legislate it, not regulate it. When Federal Labor was last in government and they legislated for the renewable energy target in 2009 and 10, they decided on legislation, not regulation. This is just covering up for the fact that the Labor Party doesn't want to have to negotiate with the Greens, and we know you cannot just tick a stroke, use the pen and increase dramatically emission reduction targets without major consequences for investment and the stability of the energy system.
So just to confirm, is that absolutely non-negotiable?
We are not negotiating on the regulation versus legislation. The Victoria knows that. We've made it very clear over the last few days. And of course, when it comes to the federal parliament, that's where the debate will be had over the federal legislation.
Would you consider 3-year reviews rather than 5?
We have said that we would be open to discussion about the timing of the reviews, but we have said that there will be a review in 2024 for the period 2025 to 2030. But what industry is crying out for is investment certainty, because they need to know they can build the assets at the right time, in the right place, to deliver the energy that Australians need.
So do you think that 3-year reviews would reduce that certainty?
Well, certainly more reviews introduces increased elements of uncertainty. But a review in 2024 is appropriate, and that's why we've proposed it.
How frustrated are you by the Labor state's obsession with what happens in the Federal Coalition Party room?
Well, the Labor states should be focusing on only one thing: lowering power prices for people in their jurisdiction. Take Victoria, for example. There are nearly 300,000 manufacturing jobs. You've had chemical manufacturers, paper manufacturers, small businesses speak out in recent days telling the Andrews government to get behind the National Energy Guarantee. We've seen an incredible coalition of stakeholders, from farmers and miners to manufacturers and small business to energy user and energy consumer groups and the energy industry itself, say it's time to deliver the National Energy Guarantee. Last night we held a major stakeholder meeting, and whether it was the renewable energy industry bodies or whether it was the mining industry bodies, they sent the same message to the ministers: get on with bringing into force the National Energy Guarantee. The other important point to make is that the National Energy Guarantee will not only lower power prices for people in those Labor states, but it will also increase reliability. And we know that without the National Energy Guarantee, there will be a heightened risk of blackouts, and no Labor government should deliver more blackouts and higher prices for their communities.
So going to next week, go to the Coalition Party room on Tuesday. Are you confident that by Tuesday afternoon, when you speak with the states again, you will have a unanimous agreement, or are we going to be waiting until September, potentially October, when Victoria goes into caretaker period, to see a final outcome?
Well, the Energy Security Board has sent a message to ministers that delaying the passage of the National Energy Guarantee will mean higher prices for the people across the country. We're working to a tight timetable because Victoria goes into caretaker mode at the end of October. Parliament sits for only a couple of weeks in December, and then early next year New South Wales goes into caretaker mode. And you need to pass both federal and state legislation. So we need to get this done. As for our party room, Matt and I know there is strong support for the National Energy Guarantee. It's been discussed at length previously. It will be discussed at length on Tuesday. But our colleagues have been briefed by the industries that are affected by higher power prices, and their message was clear. The National Energy Guarantee is the only game in town, and they want it to deliver investment certainty and lower power prices. But Matt?
Yeah, well, Josh, I just want to echo that comment that, particularly from my perspective in the Nationals party room, there's very strong support for the National Energy Guarantee. The support there is based on the fact that we do need more investment in our power system, that in implementing the guarantee will help deliver a situation where we will get more investment in power in Australia, and that's what we want to see. We want to see our energy resources used to create jobs and to help the Australian people have less pressure on them every time a little bill turns up in a white envelope every 3 months. That's what we're all about. That's what we talk about when we're in our party room, and that's why the Nationals party room does support the National Energy Guarantee. We'll have more discussions next week following the release of the legislation, but I'm confident, given that support, that will proceed. I'm also confident the joint party room will see the same result.
Senator Canavan, then what is your message to, I think, some Nationals MPs who've got doubts about the NEG? Even Liberal MPs like Tony Abbott, who say pigs might fly on the modelling and on the cost estimates. What's your message to them about whether they might want to cross the floor on this?
Well, again, it's the same message as I said earlier, David. We need to take action. We need to take action to lower power prices, and this is the proposal to do that. There are other actions that the government is taking, but there is no doubt in my mind that a system where we have a consistent framework, where we have investors and consumers lined up in support, that we will see a better policy outcome from the National Energy Guarantee. We can all disagree on numbers or modelling, and it's in our party room, people are absolutely free to bring their points of view. We have robust discussions. I'm sure we will next week. But ultimately, I'm confident we'll rally around this solution, because it is a solution to bring power prices down, and that is the shared objective of every coalition member in Canberra.
Minister Frydenberg, just on the other politically talked about matter this weekend, the report has been, the findings that have been released today, the report not released in full. Would you like to see the full report, the full investigation by New South Wales Labor into Emma Hussar?
Well, the real question is for Bill Shorten. We know that his office was made aware months ago about the allegations, disturbing allegations from Emma Hussar's office, but somehow the leader of the opposition didn't know. That doesn't pass the pub test. So the question for Bill Shorten is, what did he know, when did he know it, and what did he do about it? Because these were obviously very disturbing allegations.
Do you think it's a case of plausible deniability?
I don't know what his excuse will be, but it will be interesting to see how he answers those questions in coming days.
What do you think?
Last question.
What do you think on Hussar? What do you think the voters out in Lindsay would be thinking of this? Do you think that this, is a shoe-in for the coalition to take that seat at the next election?
Well, there's certainly no complacency in any seat, either a seat that we hold or a seat that we want to hold. But it is time that the people of Lindsay got a coalition member of parliament, another one, given that they've had one previously, and I think that obviously Emma Hussar's decision not to recontest the election provides a good opportunity for the coalition in this seat.
Back on energy, we asked Lily D'Ambrosio whether she could be sure that they would make a decision one way or the other before Victoria goes into caretaker mode on October 30. She wouldn't say. Can the neg survive if it's not decided one way or the other by October 30? Or is that the absolute final deadline? Yes or no?
Well, it's an absolute priority to get it done by then. And that is the message from the Independent Energy Security Board. But when it comes to Victoria, they have been consulted every step of the way. For a better part of a year, they have been supportive of the National Energy Guarantee. The only thing that has changed in their equation is crass politics. It's a crass political judgment about the challenge they face in inner city seats from the Greens. So the Greens are wagging the tail of the Labor Party. It's no longer the Labor Party who's in charge in Spring Street. On something as important as energy policy, it's the Greens. Now, today's discussion at the COAG Energy Council has an impact on every Australian household and on every Australian factory floor. We need to lower power prices. The Labor Party in Victoria should not stand in the way of the National Energy Guarantee. And if they continue to delay, they will guarantee the people of Victoria higher power prices and increase the risk of blackouts.
Minister, do you guarantee the ACT and the other states that there will be no changes to the draft by Tuesday?
Well, we've made very clear that what has been in our federal National Energy Guarantee paper will be the policy that will be taken to the party room on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.